Hi. Okay, welcome to May's wrap up. Again, just like last month, I was very busy. I've actually become very busy with like work and many other things. Um, but I did read a book in May that's uh decent, and then I had a DNF. Along with like the comics, of course. Anyone who watches this knows that I do a podcast, and I read comics for that, which I'll just go ahead and talk about. It's called The 90s Never Happened. We read pretty much anything from the 90s that is Marvel related, at least right now. I don't know if at some point we'll move on to like DC or anything else, but I know right now the like focus is Marvel, and we make fun of things that are just terribly written, or we call out things that are like unnecessary even for the 90s, like ooh, I don't know why that's a thing. But yeah, it's called, like I said, The 90s Never Happened, with Daniel Agan and Brie Rose and me. But yeah, if you're into like comics and chatting and stuff like that, it's totally for you. um Let me think. That's that. And then the only book that I read in May was this one, A Latte Like Love by Michelle C. Harris. I'm always excited when I can find like Raylo inspired stuff. However, I really have mixed feelings on this because, admittedly, like I said, anything Raylo inspired, I'm going to read it. It was cute. It did keep me. This is like where there's the issue. It's cute and it kept me interested throughout most of it. But like, you see how thick this is? Quite thick. I'm going to actually see the page number too. Yeah, we're at almost 500 pages by the time you get to an author's note. The issue is, for something that large, it gets into the relationship so early. So it very much feels that the type of like drama and issues that it proceeds to go through once they're like together. It reminds me very much like the plot was lost and it became more of, and I'm assuming, like a lot of Raylo books, this was a fanfic turned novel, and you can definitely see it in the writing, from like how a lot of the chapters feel more like weekly drops, like fanfic would do on AO3 or Tumblr, things like that, versus like a cohesive plot. I just feel like it was just very in need of like some serious editing, especially because for something that's very like adult. Sorry if you hear dinging. I did not put my phone on do not disturb. Sorry. But yeah, for something like this, and it's supposed to be like adult oriented adult characters, it also read with a very YA vibe. And I'm not big on like making it feel that vibe with such adult content, because I'm very like, these are supposed to be like 30 something characters, like late 20s, early 30s characters, and they're talking and acting a certain way that just yeah. And then also, it really lost my interest at the epilogue. That's like Theo's epilogue. It was really just out of place and kind of like a recap of the book. So I was like, why is this a thing? So yeah, like overall, it just, heavy editing would have been great. But like, honestly, I think I'm pickier than a lot of readers. If you just want something cute, sweet, to the point, it's going to be this. It's just, it takes a long time to get there. Yeah, that's just how I feel. And then I did have one DNF this month. It was Dead Inside, which I no longer have on. I had like the physical and I got rid of it. It was Dead Inside by Chandler Morrison. Okay. I DNF'd. Okay. I know that splatterpunk and like that type of like gore horror is like a thing. I don't know if I'm just picking the wrong ones, or if this is just kind of like par for course for that genre. But I feel like every time I pick up a splattery punk, like Womb, for instance, heinous. I refused to read Cows, even though I had purchased the book at one point, like years ago, because I found out like they were using like slurs unnecessarily, things, like there's no reason to use slurs, but I'm just saying, like, if you like have like a historical book, I understand like sometimes they will use it for like the point, the plot, but like this one specifically with Dead Inside, I'm trying to get through it. I'm trying to be like, okay, well, in the mindset of splatterpunk, things have to be like heinous, But I did DNF when it got to certain things that are just, to me, it becomes, in my opinion, not fiction anymore. It becomes a random dude's like misogynistic torture porn fantasy, honestly. I'm not into that. I don't want to read some man's weird fantasies that he decided, well, you know what, if I make it a book, then I'm not the weird one. I'm just making splatterpunk. And it's like, I feel like that's kind of like a theme in general with splatterpunk books that really like skeeve me out. It is much less like a fictional heinous plot. You know, like you can have heinous plots, but they don't read that way. They read like this specific author just has really weird ideas and really weird thought processes. And they're like, well, we're going to make it fiction and then it's okay. It's not. It's weird. It's really weird. And like, I hate to say grotesque because like I've read books that are grotesque and they're well done. This isn't well done. This isn't even like good storytelling. It's just, haha, I'm an edgelord. It's really weird to see adults writing stuff like that. For me, at least for me. If other people like it, whatever. Like, I don't really like try to police what other people do. Just for me, it's like, ugh, it's kind of weird, gross. But yeah, that was all I read in May. I'm hopeful for more in June because I really miss reading. Because I know some people could compare like last April to this April and realize there's like a way shorter amount of books that I'm reading, but life gets busy. But yeah, I hope to see you in the next one, and thanks for watching.